never stop reading Bible. We're plunging into quite a profound ancient text. Many of you will know it as Ecclesiastes.
Right, or its Hebrew name, Koheleth, which actually means something like to assemble the congregation.
Which is interesting, isn't it? It sort of suggests gathering people, maybe gathering thoughts, wrestling with life's big questions together.
Exactly. And the author, well, he introduces himself as the son of David, king of Israel.
Strong hints towards Solomon there.
Very strong hints. I mean, the life experiences described, the wisdom, the access to, well, everything. It points very clearly to Solomon. You could argue he's maybe the most qualified person ever to explore these themes for us.
Absolutely. Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So, kicking us off, Koheleth makes this incredibly bold declaration right at the start, chapter 1. All is vain or all is futile. It feels stark. Almost nihilistic, maybe.
It does hit you like that initially.
Yeah. So is it really a message of despair, or is there like a hidden purpose behind opening so strongly?
Well, what's fascinating here is that it's likely not meant as a purely cynical worldview. Not at all.
Okay.
It's more like Koheleth is saying, look, I've tried everything the world offers.
Right.
All the usual routes to happiness, they're dead ends. So if that doesn't work, what does? The futility isn't really the final answer.
Oh, okay. It's the setup.
Exactly. It's the setup. It strips away all the false hope, leaves you with the raw reality, which paradoxically kind of makes the true source of hope, the Creator God, stand out even more clearly.
And he really lays out the examples, doesn't he, to back this up?
Oh, absolutely.
The futility of human toil, how momentary life is, these ceaseless cycles in nature.
The sun, the wind.
And that really powerful idea that there's nothing new under the sun. It just paints this picture of endless repetition.
It does. It can feel a bit overwhelming.
But if nothing new under the sun is true and everything's futile, does that mean we just accept it, resign ourselves, or is the text pushing us somewhere else?
Well, this raises an important question, doesn't it? If even the greatest human wisdom, I mean, coming from a king, literally famous for it.
Right, Solomon's wisdom.
If even that is ultimately declared futile in the grand scheme of things, then yeah, the text pushes us to look beyond human achievements. It's kind of a call to examine what genuinely endures, what really lasts.
So, okay, after that sort of sweeping universal declaration of futility in chapter 1, Koheleth gets incredibly personal in chapter 2.
Yes, he does.
It's almost like he's saying, all right, I told you about it conceptually, now let me show you my receipts. Here's how I lived it.
Exactly. Here's my experiment.
He really throws himself into worldly pursuits, doesn't he? What was this grand experiment, and what did he find?
Yeah, he details this extensive exploration of pleasure. I mean, everything. Indulging in wine, lust, amassing just vast wealth.
Huge houses, servants.
Huge houses, many servants, precious jewels, building projects, gardens. He lived life to the absolute fullest by worldly standards, acquired without limit.
Sounds exhausting, actually.
It probably was. But the point is, despite all these, grand experiences, this persistent sense of emptiness, it just remained.
It didn't work.
It simply couldn't fill the void. He found himself still chasing a satisfaction that just stayed out of reach.
You know, when I think about him pursuing all that pleasure, it almost sounds like a modern influencer chasing the next big thing, right?
There's definitely a parallel.
But then the text hits you with that lingering emptiness, a feeling I think many of us can probably relate to, even if our scale is much smaller.
Sure.
And Koheleth observes something else stark here, too, that even having superior wisdom doesn't save anyone from death.
That's a key point.
Rich, poor, wise, foolish, all are equal in its face, regardless of accomplishments or enjoyments.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, the text seems to argue that true happiness, real contentment, it isn't found in these external pursuits.
So where is it found?
It arises from the Spirit. It's presented as a gift from God. Hope, lasting hope, is found only in those who live according to God's will, recognizing that all this worldly stuff is transient. A righteous life, though, brings contentment.
Okay, so if that's the case, if wealth, wisdom, pleasure, they all kind of end in emptiness or futility, then what does matter? Chapter 3 seems to offer a profound shift in perspective, doesn't it?
It really does.
It introduces this rhythm of life itself, a time for everything. How does this idea, this concept of divine timing, fundamentally change the landscape the author's been painting?
Precisely. It's a huge shift. It's not just saying God is generally in control. It's that every single moment, every ebb and flow.
Birth and death?
Birth and death. Planting and reaping. Meeting and parting. Weeping and laughing. All of it is part of a purposeful, divine choreography.
Yep.
These things aren't ultimately governed by our human plans or our striving, which is maybe why our striving often feels futile, you know?
Right, because we're not setting the schedule.
Exactly. This shifts the burden, maybe, from our relentless striving to recognizing there's a master plan. It invites trust rather than demanding specific outcomes on our timeline.
So what does this all mean for us then? What's the point, the purpose of this divine orchestration of everything?
Well, the text teaches that God orchestrates all things to cause humanity to revere him, to stand in awe of him.
Ah, okay, so it points back to God's sovereignty.
Yes, and it implies that living in alignment with God's word, his ways, is the path to blessing. Because ultimately, everyone will face God's judgment for their actions. Worldly success or failure won't be the final measure.
Then in chapter 4, the focus seems to shift again, exploring how injustice and absurdity in the world also feed into the sense of futility. It's a pretty stark look at human society.
It is. It elaborates on things he observes, like the oppression of the powerful, how the weak often can't find justice, how sometimes deceivers seem to gain more than diligent workers. It leads to this profound lack of true satisfaction or peace for many.
It highlights how the world systems often feel, well, broken, unfair.
Definitely, which just adds to that feeling that our efforts can be unrewarded or even undermined.
And the author then reflects on isolated individuals too, right? Like someone with great wealth but no heirs to leave it to.
Yes, or just the general difficulty of finding true companionship, real friendship. He seems to be saying that even great success, by worldly standards, can leave you profoundly lonely.
So achievement doesn't equal connection.
Not necessarily. And he also highlights the transient nature of power itself. Success, failure, it all comes and goes. It demonstrates that human affairs, even at their highest levels, kings and rulers, can be ultimately fleeting, unsatisfying. They just don't deliver that true deep contentment.
That deep yearning for connection, for meaning, it remains unmet by just worldly achievements alone.
That's the core of it, I think.
This deep dive was brought to you by the Insights from the Center Studio.